sociologists have always made comparison across society, and over time, sociologists argue that most of the economic behavior can only be explained by society itself or by context. Longitudinal studies with comparisons across society were driven by observations that social context shape economic behavior. The method itself highlights contextual differences in economic behavior. Findings from such research show that modern rational behavior is learned and not inherent. It is argued that historical and comparative studies illuminate the role of society in shaping economic behavior like nothing else can. The comparative and historical method is one of sociology's comparative advantages compared to methods used by the economists. The early German economic sociologists like Weber, Sombath, and Schumpeter draw their inspirations from historical research and make use of comparative comparison to make comparison between institutions, between nations, and between civilization. The French economic sociology also emphasized the role of institution in the economy and stressed that the method of economic sociology must be comparative and historical. The major French economists consisted of Durkheim, Marco Mauss, and Francois Simiat. Now, the early sociologists like Max Weber and Durkheim sought to understand the rise of modern economic behavior by comparing pre-capitalist societies to capitalism. For example, Marx explored the transition from feudalism to capitalism. On the other hand, Weber studies the capitalist impulse that arose from Protestantism in Western Europe and explained why capitalism did not first arise in China or in India. And Durkheim explains the rise of capitalism's divisions of labor. The comparative and historical methods used by Max Weber and Durkheim were designed to explain why human behavior varied across or over time and across contexts. Historical analysts ask questions like, how did modern economic practices come about? And comparative analysts ask, if human nature drives the evolution of economic system, and if human nature is universal, why do economic systems take such different forms? Historical and comparative work in economic sociology point to the society itself, suggesting that societies develop along different trajectories for reasons having to do with history and events. Many studies make comparisons both across countries and over time to rule in certain explanation and rule out others. An example of historical and comparative method in economic sociology conducted in the early 1990s is to understand the new industrial policy that the US, Britain, and France adopted during the Great Depression. In this research, Frank Dobbin in 1993 compared industrial policies before and during the Depression across the three countries to find that In each case, the downturn caused nations to try to reverse the decline by reversing their industrial policies.